In the land of Canaan, the prophet Jacob lived with his 12 sons. Jacob loved his son Joseph very much, because he was the son of his beloved wife Rachel, whom he had waited for many years before having her. Joseph was a handsome and intelligent young man, and God had given him the ability to interpret dreams, which made him special among his brothers. One night, Joseph had a strange dream. He saw in his dream that 11 stars, the sun, and the moon were prostrating to him. When he woke up, he rushed to his father Jacob and his brothers to tell them about this dream. Joseph said, "Father, I saw in my dream that the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were prostrating to me." Jacob understood that this dream had a great meaning, but he feared that Joseph would be envied by his brothers, so he advised him not to tell them the dream. But the brothers heard the dream, and their hearts grew more angry and spiteful. They said to themselves, "Is it possible that our father and mother would prostrate to him, and we all?" Now Joseph had a younger brother named Benjamin, Rachel's second son, whom Jacob also loved very much. But Benjamin was young and was not present when Joseph told his dream. After that dream, the brothers decided to get rid of Joseph. One day, while they were tending the flocks in the wilderness, they threw Joseph into a deep pit. Then they took his shirt and put fake blood on it, and told their father that a wolf had eaten him. Jacob was very sad, but God was with Joseph in the pit. A caravan passed by the pit, found Joseph, brought him out, and sold him as a slave in Egypt. There, a man named Potiphar, who was the captain of the king's guard, bought him. Potiphar admired Joseph's intelligence and honesty, so he put him in charge of his household, but Joseph's days were not always easy. He was greatly tested when Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him, and when he refused, she falsely accused him and put him in prison. But even in prison, Joseph showed his wisdom and ability to interpret dreams. He interpreted the dreams of 2 prisoners with him, one of whom was the king's cupbearer and the other the king's baker. His interpretation came true, and the king's cupbearer was released and returned to the king's service. Years later, the king had a dream that troubled him. He saw 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean cows, and 7 green ears of grain followed by 7 dry ears. No one could interpret the dream until the king's cupbearer remembered Joseph in prison. Joseph was brought before the king, and he interpreted the dream for him, saying, "There will come 7 good years followed by 7 years of drought. You must store food in the good years to meet the years of drought." The king was impressed by Joseph's interpretation and wisdom, so he made him responsible for the treasuries of Egypt. Joseph became the second man after the king in power. When the years of drought came, Egypt did not starve, thanks to Joseph's planning. Meanwhile, the land of Canaan was also suffering from drought, so Joseph's brothers came to Egypt to buy food. When they stood before Joseph, they did not recognize him, but he recognized them. Joseph tested his brothers to see if they had changed, and asked them to bring their brother Benjamin. When they did, Joseph revealed himself, saying, "I am Joseph, your brother." The brothers wept in regret for what they had done, but Joseph said to them, "Don't blame yourselves, God wanted to bring me here to save you." Then he asked them to bring their father Jacob and their family to Egypt. When Jacob arrived, Joseph's dream came true, and his brothers and father bowed down to him, just as he had seen in his dream. Thus, Joseph's story ended with goodness and justice, as God reunited the family, and Joseph became the reason for saving his people from famine. Joseph's story teaches us that God can turn calamities into good, and that patience and faith are the keys to salvation.